All right, guys. Our next guest has a huge task ahead of him as he is currently helping Khabib Nurmagomedov prepare for possibly his toughest test ever in Tony Ferguson. Not only is it the fight that everybody is talking about, it's also the fight that everybody is wondering if it will even happen. We have the former world champion kickboxer and co-founder of AKA himself, Javier Mendez. Javier, welcome back to Submission Radio. How are you in these crazy times, man?
Yeah, crazy times. I think even my Skype got the coronavirus. I can't get on, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yep. But you're kind enough to join us on the phone, so we appreciate it.
That's right,
Yeah,
Javier.
no problem. You guys are always great.
I'll tell you what, Casa mentioned it in the intro, and we should get right into it because we don't have much time, and that is, how do you train for a fight you don't really know is even going to happen? Take us into what's happening right now at AKA and yourself and Team Khabib. What are you guys thinking, and how are you guys training, and what is the mindset?
Well, we're training like usual, except that we're shut down. The gym is shut down by the government, or the not the government per se, but the local politicians here. The mayor shut us down, so everybody shut down. If you're a necessity type of business, you can stay open. Unnecessity type, which is my business, you have to close.
Yeah.
So we are closed at the present time. We can stay open for very few people, and it's Khabib only, and the people that he's training with for the fight, and a couple other people. But it's very at the present time, there's hardly nobody here, because that's what we have to do to keep it. But as far as the motivation for the fight, still the same. We just wait to see what's going to happen, but we're training like we have a fight because we need to.
When you hear Dana White say that, it's happening no matter what, that's been the echoed statement from him. What is it really based on, in your mind? Does he tell you guys the plan or how they're going to, make this happen no matter what? Because, he was saying the same thing about UFC London, just days ago, and then obviously we saw how that panned out.
Well, it's out of his control. There's a lot of great things he's trying to get accomplished, but really, there's like in Nevada where they run Nevada, but they don't run Nevada because the State Athletic Commission has nothing to do with the UFC, even though they have some power there, but obviously they don't have the power to stay open. So if you don't have enough power to stay open in your own state where you are very powerful, then I seriously doubt you have enough power to stay open somewhere else. They just have to find the right scenario, the right place that doesn't have a lockdown on this horrible, flu epidemic and a pandemic that's going around. So we'll see what happens. But, obviously Dana has to be optimistic, has to give the fighters hope, and he's doing everything in his power to make these things happen. And I'm very optimistic that he's going to get it accomplished. So we'll see, though. We'll see.
We've seen locations such as international waters. We've seen locations such as Russia. Some people are questioning if we can fly out to the moon just to make this fight happen. Can you break down for us some of the locations that have sort of come across your desk, and how far are you willing to go for Khabib to make this fight happen? How far are you guys willing to travel?
Well, we as a team are willing to travel wherever the place needs to happen. So wherever that may be, we're willing to travel. Where we have been told, the Apex in Las Vegas, but that got shot down because, like I said, the State Athletic Commission stopped all fights from happening. So, you don't have any power over them. And then I heard somewhere in Oklahoma, but that got shot down too. So I don't know where else, where they're going. I read his father had a great idea, and I think it's a great idea. Abu Dhabi, I think that's a great place, but who knows, what their rules are over there at the present time. It's a world pandemic that's preventing this from happening, and it's kind of one of those, I don't know, day by day,
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things where it's a countdown clock, and essentially you guys are getting ready for a fight, but there's also going to be a point where physically, if it looks like it's not going to happen, you guys are going to have to stop at a certain point. Obviously, you don't want to do things like weight cutting and putting Khabib in a position where he's going to put his body through things if you don't think the fight's going to happen. So as a coach yourself, Javier, a guy that's dealt with Khabib for such a long time, is there a cutoff date that you would need to know the location by in order to continue doing things like weight cutting and doing the last measure preparations for this fight? Is there sort of a date in mind that you and the team have that the UFC would have to lock this down?
Yeah, of course. For me, it's the date where the real hard cutting, weight cutting comes into effect, and that's week of, because that's when he really has to struggle. That's when it really is important. That's when he's putting his health in danger. But at the present time, he's training like he's fighting. His weight's good. His sparring is fantastic. So everything is great, you guys. Everything's great. Just a matter of, send me location, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just on that sparring, it's something that's fascinating right now because people don't know how to handle this whole coronavirus. You mentioned that the gym's shut down, and a bunch of gyms have been shut down. But what kind of precautions are you guys taking in him training with his training partners? Obviously, you've reduced the people in the gym, but his training partners, how many partners does he have? And are they doing stuff outside of training, like self-isolation and stuff like that, to make sure they're not bringing the virus into the gym?
He's only sticking with his core people and a few other ones that have been here, but the vast majority of his training partners is like Umar, Islam, other Islam, Abadaf, and a few Tahir, Saeed. These are all people, that they came with him. These are the main people that he's working with. Nobody really more outside of that because of the spread, and also the fans. There is no fans outside, thank God, because he can't be, because of this thing, he can't be out there with the fans because you just don't know, man. You just don't know.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned the fans. Like, this fight is the hardcore fight. It's for the hardcore fans. It's the epitome of a hardcore fan fight. But if it ends up being in an arena with no crowd, no fans, how weird would that be? If it ended up being that way.
I personally think at the beginning they'll be weird, but once him and Tony start fighting, it ain't gonna matter. They gotta beat the hell out of each other. So they're gonna be too preoccupied with winning the fight and inflicting as much damage on each other that they ain't going to care about the fans. But at the beginning, yeah, it's going to feel weird at the beginning.
Let's just look at this fight, Javier. Well, we have you on the line, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. This is the fifth time this fight has been put together in a fight that people have been looking forward to, possibly the most looked forward to fight in MMA history. When you look at the way that this fight goes, and let's say it happens on the day that it's supposed to happen, how do you see it playing out? And where does Tony Ferguson rank for you as the toughest opponents that Khabib has ever had?
Well, for me, I'll just go by the toughest opponent. I think overall, Tony's the toughest opponent overall with everything skill set. Striking-wise, I think Conor was the best striker he's ever faced. But I think overall, Tony's got the best overall skills out of anybody he's ever fought. Because he's dangerous on the speed, he's dangerous on the ground, he's got decent wrestling. I mean, he's dangerous everywhere. But Khabib also has improved a lot in so many different areas that the last fight wasn't as good as he is this fight. So we'll see a new Khabib, and we're definitely going to see a new Tony. But at the end of the day, is Tony the toughest opponent? In some ways, yes. In other ways, no.
Is it extra tricky because obviously Khabib's bread and butter is on the ground and he's going up against a guy who is quite more than happy and willing to be on the ground, and he has so many tools off his back? How do you sort of handle something like that?
Well, we'll see when we get there, right? I mean, it's hard to say. He's never fought someone like Tony. Tony's never fought someone like him. So we'll see what happens when Khabib takes him down, because that's going to happen. And we'll see if Tony can do what he's used to doing. He may find he can't. And that may be one of the areas where he'll go, oh, crap, I didn't realize he was this good. Mostly everybody that's ever dealt with him, that's what they come out saying, like, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good. So trust me when I tell you this, it's going to be more of Tony's going to be like, God damn it. I thought I had it. I thought this. I thought that. Well, nope. I still, to this day, say if there's a person on the ground that could beat Khabib, we'll do more stand-up. No, I still don't believe there's one out there. So he has an advantage in so many different areas. And but I think Khabib, at the end of the day, he's going to do what he does best, and Father's plan will prevail.
Obviously, the fight is something that everyone's excited about, but like just seeing these two guys interact with each other is always so fascinating. It's always so fun to watch. Like Khabib against Conor at the press conference was kind of unfazed, almost bored looking, but against Tony at that press conference, Tony got a real rise out of him. Khabib got pretty animated, more animated than we've seen in a long time. What did you think of the Khabib, you saw there at that press conference? Do you think that Tony was able to sort of get under his skin a little bit?
No, this is what happened. Right when we were outside getting ready to get introduced, about 15 minutes before, I go, hey, listen, we never talked about Tony and about the games and this and that because he hasn't done anything, so you haven't had that to worry about. And I said to him, I said, hey, you know what? With Conor, I didn't want you to say anything, more or less keep quiet, which is what he did for the majority of it, And on this one here, I just do what you want to do. I said, have fun with it if you want, or not. I go, you're capable of because Khabib's extremely intelligent. I don't know if you guys, I think the vast majority of people figure out he's pretty witty, Oh,
yeah.
He comes out with some really good sayings. So, it's going to take a lot to really rile him up and really get him. But it isn't going to take as much for him to rile you up. He's pretty good at that.
A lot of people talking about what's going to happen if this fight gets delayed. Coach, people suggesting that if Tony doesn't get this fight now, maybe a guy like Conor McGregor might sort of leapfrog him, and then the next fight will be Khabib versus Conor McGregor in the rematch rather than Tony Ferguson getting this title shot. What are your thoughts on that? If this fight doesn't happen, is it guaranteed that you guys will give Tony that title shot still, or is it very likely that Conor McGregor will take that away?
Well, this is the thing. If let's say there was nothing's happening yet, but let's just talk. They find the place for us to go, and let's just say Tony doesn't want to go. Khabib's gonna want to fight whoever they put in front of him, whoever like whoever like Gaethje, like who's the guy that just beat Kevin Lee?
Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira. Someone that whatever. He's like, give me somebody. That's what Khabib's attitude will be. Well, give me somebody. If Tony doesn't want to fight, give me somebody, and then we'll go after Tony again when he is ready. But I don't think Tony. I think he's in the same boat as Khabib. Tony's gonna go, screw that. I'm fighting. I don't care where I gotta go. I'm fighting that dude. I'll fight him at his house. And that's what I think. Tony ain't gonna stop for nothing. I mean, he's a true warrior, man. You can't take nothing away from that man. He is a true warrior. He is a warrior through and through. He's a fighter through and through, and nothing's going to make him back down outside of something that's not in his control. So I don't look at that happening because I don't look at Tony saying, "Well, I ain't going to go fight that dude there." No, I don't think so. He's a real fighter. He's gonna go where he needs to go, just like Khabib is. So both of these guys are real fighters. It's going to come down to me, in my opinion, is who is going to do the most damage to who? Because they're not going to break each other. Khabib ain't going to break him, and Tony ain't going to break Khabib. So it's who does the most damage.
It's going to be absolutely fascinating. Last question, Coach, and we'll let you go, and we appreciate the time. Daniel Cormier is a man that was trying to make a comeback and obviously fight Stipe in his last fight. There might not be a UFC possibly until July, possibly till later. If this break sort of pushes out the UFC past 2020, is there a chance that because of this delay, we may never see Daniel Cormier fight again?
Yes, it's possible you may never see him fight again because he doesn't need to fight. He's well off. He's got his after fight career in full gear. So yeah, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. 100% possible. I mean, he doesn't need to prove anything to me or himself, but it's a matter of what he wants. And I believe he wants the Stipe rematch, and that's the only one that he wants at the present time. But I'm assuming that if things go right and he can regain that title, Dana's going to want to keep him around. He's going to dangle the John Jones carrot at him, at heavyweight, which will be a huge carrot.
What would you prefer, Stipe or John Jones?
What's that?
What would you prefer? Like, if there's two carrots, Stipe or John Jones, what would you prefer? And also, that's wild that Daniel Cormier may actually not come back.
I want Stipe if we get the one dangling carrot only at Stipe, and if because that's what he wants, but if he retired, I'm good with that too.
Yeah. Right.
So 2021, Coach, you think we still see Daniel Cormier fight even with this whole coronavirus break, even as long as he gets the fights that he wants, or you think there's that good chance that it might not happen because it's 2021?
I hope he gets to fight once in 2020 and then he retires.
Okay. Well, there it is there. Crazy times right now. We appreciate the time. Of course, AKA one of the finest gyms and establishments. We wish you all the best, Coach. We know it's tough times right now with the coronavirus. It's tough for all the MMA gyms and all the MMA staff out there. We wish you all the best. And, of course, UFC 249, Khabib versus Tony Ferguson, April 18th on a boat in international waters. Abu Dhabi. What about Russia? We don't know. It's to be determined. But, of
Who
course,
knows?
you can follow them
Russia, I mean, wherever it could be, no problem. It's just where.
At AKA Jav on Twitter, and of course maybe at Javier's backyard. We know you've got that nice house, Javier. No more than 10 people. Hopefully you invite us. Thank you so much for being on the program.
All right, you guys. Thanks for having me.